All right, welcome to Two Sons Podcast. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Hope all of you guys are having a great week. A little different version of Two Sons Podcast, remote style. I was just thinking as I got into my studio this morning, we had that incredible setup in Tucson that you and I built, that incredible studio, and now I'm starting from scratch once
Dude,
again. But today we're going to be covering the debut 3 episodes of Alien Earth. And I'm joined today by my best friend, Luke Hoffaker, back
what's
down
up,
there in
man?
Tucson, Arizona. It's been a long time. How you doing,
I
buddy?
know. I know. We're good, man. How are you guys doing?
We're doing good. The move has been, as you can imagine, just jam-packed with all sorts of like little annoying things that you have to deal with. But
Oh
we're
yeah.
loving Colorado so far. Like, you know how it goes, dude. It's just like we just have so much furniture to assemble. And I assembled my second bed frame yesterday. And like as I'm assembling the bed frame, I'm like, I hate this shit so
Dude, I know.
much.
There's so many little pieces. You and I were talking about cars and like how complicated they are. Dude, furniture is the exact same way, I feel like. It's just like if you forget one little piece too for something made by IKEA, like the whole entire thing needs to be disassembled and then
Oh,
put back
dude.
together.
Of course, I made a mistake at one point where I had to then disassemble half of it to put it back
Yeah.
together, and like it just is so annoying. But each time I accomplish something like that, I feel like I'm closer to getting back into a routine. And unfortunately, as I walked in here, I was like, after I'm done assembling all this furniture, I'm gonna have to buy more of those black kind of like cabinets that we had. And
You and I
as
spent
you and
like
I
four
established,
hours that day
yeah, dude,
assembling
like,
furniture. It
and
was a
that was the
vibe, and
two
we
of
just we
us.
had a beer or two and then did it, but
Yeah,
it
it
was
was
cool.
fun. It was fun, but yeah, it was a lot of work. But yeah, dude, it's been kind of a interesting transition, but I'm excited to announce that we're still going to be doing Two Sons podcast, and it's been a while. It's been our This is our first episode since we were covering Andor, which was much earlier
Wow.
in the year. There's lots of exciting stuff. Like I saw, I don't know if you saw, I sent this to you on Instagram yesterday, but Fallout is coming out with their
Mm,
season 2 this December, which is super
interesting.
exciting.
Dude,
Yeah.
I was kind of mentally comparing Alien Earth with Fallout, and I've got to say, I've liked Alien Earth a lot more than Fallout.
I love Fallout. Are you
Dude,
hating on
no,
Fallout
Fallout's
out here?
cool. Dude, I feel like so here's why I like Alien Earth so much. It's like it's jump scares and tension and action just packaged in a story. That's all it is. Like and I mean that in the best way, but it's just like a really, really good excuse to have all of this different shit go down that's insane with like a story wrapped around it. And like that's why I'm liking it so much, I think. Whereas
There,
Fallout like feels a little different.
oh yeah, well Fallout, I feel like it. I think Fallout actually does have an interesting story, and
Oh,
I
for
am
sure it
interested
does.
in bunches in most of the characters, but I think Fallout leans a little bit more on like kind of the imagery of this like kind of post-apocalyptic world, and then it leans
Yeah,
on heavily on gore. And Alien has gore, obviously, that goes without
most
saying,
definitely.
but it definitely has a little bit more of a of like a thriller vibe to
Mm,
it, which
way
gives
more
it that
thriller.
level of excitement. But as you mentioned off the top, like ultimately it's the storytelling that makes it all interesting. And like just
Mhm.
right away they spend a good amount of time early on establishing characters and getting you interested. And it's like
Right.
Wendy is this super fascinating like go-getter. Interestingly enough, she actually kind of reminds me, I can't remember her name, but of the main character Fallout
Agreed.
the vault chick who comes out of the vault. They just have that same like kind of
They're like,
energy,
we're
like
gonna have a good vibe and everything is okay. Yeah,
yeah,
let's get it
yeah,
done.
yeah,
For
exactly.
sure.
Yeah, and then but then like you get like it's there's a little bit of world building taking place here, and for those of you guys who have spent any time watching the other drop-ins of the Alien universe, there's been a little bit of world building done. It's never been what Alien has depended on. Alien has depended on, like you're talking about, a lot of that like kind of jump scare, thriller, fear element, and
Mhm.
just it's a classic like monster movie in the sense that like the xenomorph is the star, and the fact that it just
Right.
scares the shit out of you the entire movie, and that's what drives everything. But like there are some certain elements, right? Like you learn in the other movies kind of their life cycle. They start as these eggs, and these eggs open up and these face huggers come out and attach to these organic life forms, and they inject a parasite that then like bursts out of the chest of whatever it is that they infest, and then the xenomorph grows from like a baby into like a full grown like monster within like a
A
couple of
bear.
hours. Yeah, like a
Yeah.
bear in a couple of hours. And if you've watched some of the other movies, they get a little bit deeper into it. Like there's a queen. They're basically like they're kind of like termites. Basically, there's like a queen that lays the eggs, and then
Mm.
all of the xenomorphs are basically like the soldiers that fight, and they have like they go into other detail. Like they'll this Wayland Yutani Corporation is a corporation that comes up in a lot of the other movies, essentially as the funding entity for these deep space exploration
Which can we
expeditions.
just not like, well, as a human, like as a race, let's just not do that. Can we all agree to not go get aliens and bring them home? Like,
Yeah.
I pledge to not do that if everyone else does that,
they,
bro.
they do a good job in all the movies of kind of breaking it down as like it's kind of an interesting idea how like the world has in this dystopia or future version of the world, it basically is run by corporations rather than countries, and that's kind of like a an idea that they dive into a little bit, but they don't go into too much detail. And if you go into some of the prequels like Prometheus, they talk about like these super sentient like aliens that actually created the human race on Earth, and they get into some of those sorts of details. But this is like the first alien show that seems to be really diving into the world building element on Earth.
Mm.
And we're starting to get these two entities. Obviously, we have the Prodigy Corporation, which is run by this Boy Cavalier character, which I actually think is played by Samuel Blanken. I think he's doing an awesome job.
Oh, he's doing a great job. The guy's in his pajamas all the time, pretty much, and he just gives that like that really creepy, like I'm rich and don't care vibe. He does such a good job with that.
Yeah, Carly was saying it's like Lex Luthor vibes a little bit. I was
Yeah,
actually thinking about this while I was watching it last night because in the first or second episode, he has a sit down conversation with Dame, who's the scientist who's running, who's like kind of more emotionally involved with the hybrids, and we'll get into the different types of entities here in a minute. But like he's having this conversation with her where he's basically saying like I created the hybrids because all of you stupid MFers are boring and I
right.
can't even have a conversation with you guys. So like I'm just doing this so that maybe I can have an interesting conversation. And I was literally
Dude.
sitting there thinking, I was like, do you understand how difficult that is as an actor to be like, okay, you need to go into the scene and carry yourself in a way that like believably comes off to the audience as though
Mm.
you are the smartest human being that has ever lived. And like it's just it's really tough to do. And like for instance, like if you've ever watched Ben Affleck do the accountant
Mhm.
role,
Right.
it's
Yeah, the
like
accountant's sick. I love that.
in a
Love
great
those
movie. I
movies.
enjoyed it. Did you see the
So
second
good.
one yet?
Yeah, they're so good.
Yeah, excellent movies.
They're
It's
so
hard to
ridiculous.
buy
It's
into
amazing.
Ben Affleck as an accountant.
Dude, he pulls it off though. I think he does a great job.
He does a
It's
great job as the secret agent element, and he pulls off he channels that like kind of like socially awkward element to it.
Mhm.
But like and I think he's actually autistic in the movie.
He is.
But
Mhm.
like it's a little bit the I would say that like Ben Affleck playing the autistic person is not what carries the film. It's more
No.
like it's more like
No.
his overall badassness
It's a
mixed
shoot
in
'em
with
up movie. That's all
yeah
it is.
yeah.
Like the final scene in the second one is literally like 35 minutes of just machine guns going off and like buses driving through fences and stuff, you know.
Dude, this genre because we just went to go see Nobody too, with which has
Mm.
Bob Odenkirk, who's the guy who plays the lawyer in Breaking Bad, and excellent movie as well. And like this genre where it's like just some variation of different type of guy
Right.
who gets screwed over or ends up in some sort of bad situation where suddenly he's going to just go ape shit on like
Right.
hundreds of dudes
Dude,
before the end
it's
of the
almost
movie.
like they did all the action scenes first and then like retrofit an actual plot around it. Like that's what they do.
And it's like a very low bar that you have to hit,
Yeah.
you
They're
know.
and you're like, okay, that's believable. Okay, sure. Sure. See, so that's kind of the vibe. It's not nearly as bad, but that's kind of what I was mentioning earlier when I was talking with you. Like, this show feels like a really good excuse to have just like really good jump scares and like really good terror and really good, fight and action scenes. But they're so much more eloquent with the plot development with
Yeah,
Alien Earth. Yeah.
I think that's what makes great. Like there's I love all those movies. The John Wicks, I think all the Jason Statham movies are awesome too if you've ever seen those. Like they're fun, but they kind of like fall into this category of like fodder, right? It's like you're either just showing us a bunch of nudity and violence or like you're showing us nudity and violence in the structure of like really
With an
good
insane
storytelling.
plot. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so like it all like to me Alien Earth is at least attempting to land some sort of like more depth. It's trying
Most
to add an
definitely.
element of depth to it that I'm appreciating.
And they're for sure pulling it off. And
Yeah,
and
I agree.
they put so much effort into the sets. Like that's what I really like, right? When I watch a show, like I pay attention to the movie or the music a lot. I pay attention to the sets. Their combination of like CGI with practical effects is exactly what Star Wars has been missing. I feel
Mhm.
like it's been so cool to go on these like little excursions in this broken down ship that's in a city, and they're going in and out of like the ship versus the building, and then they're going around corners, and then there's always like if you look in the corners of the screen there's always something like slightly moving or like slithering, and
Yeah,
then
like
the
a
characters.
cable that's like hanging or
Yeah,
something.
or no,
Yeah.
but then you'll see like something crawl, and then like the characters will be like unaware of it, and they'll just like walk into this room that's is just infested with just shit that's gonna kill them. It's so cool. It's
That
so amazing.
that mix of practical and CGI is so interesting because it's like when you zoom out, like they'll do zoom out shots, like okay, here are the three drop ships returning to the island,
Mhm.
or oh, here's this, or here's that, or here's like the spanning view of the city with the burning building in the background. But then like when they get close, it's all practical, or like
Mhm.
it's like okay, here's the Wayland Yutani like fancy building, but we're gonna zoom in on the CEO, and it actually just kind of looks like a dope, austere, kind of like brand new like corporate kind of structure that she's
Right.
walking around in, or like
Yeah, that
the
was cool. I know
xenomorph.
exactly what scene you're talking about.
Yeah, and like there's all the like close-ups of the xenomorph, which are like all legit practical effects
Right.
that just kind of like not only like are pulling off in the context of this show, but it's a callback to the past. I mean, like
Mhm.
the original Alien movie was literally made almost 50 years ago. It was like in
Right.
the late 70s. And so like that practical xenomorph is like a callback to that
For
era,
sure.
and it like resonates like that.
To the point too where they even like kept the neck stiff. As the
Yeah.
xenomorph is like looking around, like the neck is so stiff, and because that was like a suit at one point, and it didn't really turn, and they kept stuff like that, which is so incredibly cool. I love little nods. The music is really neat too. Like since we brought that up, like it's such a cool combination. Like I think they played like some Metallica, some Black Sabbath, but then there was also like there was like really neat instrumental like chorded or not no no like string instruments. I don't know why I
Oh
couldn't
yeah,
think of it.
dude. Well,
String
there
instruments.
was the scene where they're pulling the like hermit in on like the like gurney thing. There's
Mhm.
just like a dude like playing electric guitar in the back, like soloing.
Right.
And behind that, it's not like there's drums and pianos. It's like a dude like strumming an acoustic guitar in the background with like a dude just like soloing over it. And it's kind of like abstract, but in a
Mhm.
way that's like hitting in that scene. Yeah, like
Yeah,
as it was happening last night, I was like, this is such an interesting kind of way
it's
to frame
so
the
cool.
scene.
Yeah, and there's
Yeah.
another scene that's really cool. There's this like these like bursts of trumpet tones, and it just like I couldn't figure out what it reminded me of, and I'm gonna figure it out. I can't figure like I to this I've looked it up. Like I cannot figure out where these trumpet tones are from. I'm going to find them, but it reminded me of like an old superhero movie or something. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it, but it's been so fun to listen to the soundtrack of this show so far. It's been incredible. It's probably been my favorite part, actually.
Yeah, it's really well done. The mix of practical and digital effects, the music, it's all really well done, and I've really enjoyed it to this point. Let's dive into some of this plot.
Cool.
Yeah, I have five main plot points that I want to get into from the first five episodes. First of all, Prodigy is clearly aware this character Kirsch, who's
Mm.
played by Timothy Olyphant. He's got the bleached hair, the like spiked up
Such a
synthetic,
cool vibe.
super interesting character, and like the
Mhm.
way that he kind of like preaches at human, like you could just tell he has like a disdain for human thought processes. Even for Boy Cavalier, he's just like these
Mhm.
guys have no idea what they're doing. Like
Right.
he clearly views artificial intelligence as the next phase of human evolution, while Boy Cavalier views the hybrids as the next stage of human
Mhm.
evolution. But Kirsch is performing surgery. He opens up one of the eggs and pulls
He's
out a
so
face hugger.
unbothered by everything, by the way.
Oh yeah,
There's like creepy crawlies everywhere, and he's just looking at this computer screen, and as everybody else is freaking out, and he's just focused.
dude,
He couldn't care less. He's incredible.
completely
Anyways,
unbothered.
sorry to cut you off.
No, you're
The
good. So he pulls
surgery.
the face hugger out, and then what I thought was cool is he opens up the face hugger and actually pulls the little tiny
Right.
parasite out of the face hugger, which to my knowledge is the first time we've seen that in this Alien franchise.
They
And
made it look more like the xenomorph too.
yeah, it was like
The
a
tiny parasite.
tadpole with the
Uh-huh, but it had
xenomorph's
kind of
head.
like yeah, exactly. With like, I know, I like that. It made sense. It
Yeah,
made
it was
sense.
it was working. And so then they have presumably they just remove Kirsch's, or excuse me, Hermit. So this is Wendy's brother, who's
Right.
an organic, like a traditional organic, one of the very few that we have in this show. And they just take his lung out.
Just like a lobectomy. Just it's this
Yeah.
lung. He's doing
Yeah.
okay apparently though. He
Yeah.
doesn't need
So
it yet.
my current working theory, and we'll see what happens, is that they're going to turn him into a cyborg,
Yeah.
kind of like Moro, and that he'll become immortal so that he can be immortal with Wendy or whatever.
Mhm.
But they just hook up his lung and put it there in this like kind of vat with fluid, and then they drop the little tadpole in it, and he's just kind of swimming around, and then he just dives into the lung.
Oh,
It,
it's
it,
so creepy.
I'm super interested to see how this turns out because there is kind of like a subplot in the Alien films, which is
Mhm.
that what the xenomorph face hugger whatever infests directly determines like some of the genetic characteristics of the xenomorph. So like
So it's just gonna be like this angry lung that's running around.
that's what I'm curious to see. Like, is it gonna be like this weird balloon xenomorph?
He's just
that,
gonna
like,
breathe a lot.
yeah, it's just gonna like a blowfish xenomorph, and
Yeah.
then like, and
He
then
has asthma.
but like in the other shows, like there's like different versions of the xenomorph that come out based on like what it infests. And there's like
Mhm.
one of the movies where it like infests a dog, and like then it just runs around on all fours like the entire
Oh
time.
gosh.
Which I thought was interesting because like the one in this movie for the most part, or this show for the most part, has been running around on all fours, kind of
Yeah.
like a
Mhm.
galloping predator of some kind.
Right.
But yeah, so I'm really interested to see what goes on with Hermit on both fronts. Like, what is he gonna die, or are they gonna essentially turn him into a cyborg, or like what's going on with him?
Mhm.
And then two, like obviously our next big reveal is gonna be what happens to the xenomorph parasite now that it's
Yeah.
inside this lung.
I think if it didn't escape and wreak havoc, I think that'd be a massive disappointment.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
insane is gonna happen. Like,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's like clearly Kirsch knows. Like
Right.
he's seen all of this to this
Dude,
point. So like clearly Kirsch is like, fuck it, let's see what happens.
I
You
know.
know?
Dude, and it's so stupid because time and time again, they're like, all right, like we have these sketchy creatures, shut down the lab. That's their containment protocol. They're like, all right, just shut down the lab. Like, it's like, no, like this glass door isn't going to do anything for us when there's a giant alien ripping through it, doing its best to tear people's faces off. You know, it's just like, there's the idea of us containing these creatures is hilarious to me.
Well, the
It's so
entire
silly.
there's no way this show holds up unless the xenomorph somehow escapes. Like
It needs to
it's
escape.
like basically essentially guaranteed to happen. And
Right.
we've literally seen the xenomorph like rip through steel doors that have been welded shut. Like
Let alone a
he's
glass cylinder that it's
yeah.
in. Yeah.
He's
No.
it's an indomitable force. So that's the
Yeah.
first major storyline that I
Real
have.
quick, I do think that Hermit survives this. I think there's been way too much plot development between him and Wendy. They went all the way back into their childhood like three different times, showing memories between the two that they shared. He's for sure gonna live at least until the end of this season.
I think so too. I think that Prodigy fucking with him though is gonna piss Wendy off because like
Yeah. Oh yeah.
there's this other subplot. I actually had this one further down on my list, but we'll go to this one next. But one of the hybrids is this woman or little girl who's in a woman's body named Curly.
Curly. Yeah.
And she is clearly like pissed off at like everything because she's first of all pissed off that like Wendy gets to be named Wendy because all the other hybrids have like funky names. Like her name
Right.
is Curly, there's Slightly, Smee, Nibs, like they're all like kind of these weird childish names, and then Wendy gets to be Wendy. And so she kind of already has a little bit of a chip on her shoulder about that. But then she's also pissed off because like she's super loyal to Prodigy
Mm-hmm.
and wants to like she even like has this conversation with Boy Cavalier where she basically says like I view myself as a person who could take your spot one day. I have that basically saying I have that level of ambition and loyalty, which
Right.
I think resonates specifically with Boy Cavalier because he views the hybrids as the next phase of human evolution, and so like he
Mm-hmm.
actually that ambition is literally his goal. So like you could tell Curly's kind of sidling up next to him to try to like kind of build that relationship up a little bit.
Right.
But like that I think could end up being where where the path bifurcates for the hybrids. Essentially, like you have um Wendy, I think, is our protagonist. I think that's pretty
Mm.
clear. Like if you're
Correct.
watching the show, the clear protagonist is Wendy. I think the antagonist is complicated. I think Moro kind of comes off as a sympathetic being. He talks about
Yeah,
giving
he's
his
interesting. I
yeah.
can't decide on him. But I agree with you. Like there's teams developing, right? So
Yeah.
there's the Wendy Hermit team for sure.
Yeah.
And then there's the Boy Cavalier Curly team that's forming, most definitely. I think, then there's our scientist that's really nurturing what's her name?
Dame. Yeah.
Dame Sylvia. She's definitely on like the Wendy Hermit side, I think. Like there's definitely these like teams that are forming for sure.
Yeah. I think that makes for a good show when it's complicated too. Like when it's a super clear protagonist and super clear antagonist, things can get predictable. But at this point,
Yeah.
you're like, well, Prodigy and Boy Cavalier kind of feel like not necessarily evil, but just reckless and
Mm-hmm.
motivated by like scientific advancement at any cost,
Right.
which is comes with its own list of things. The xenomorph is obviously like a very straightforward antagonist in the show, and then again, like Moro is complicated, but then like Wayland Yutani is in this show some sort of complicated antagonist as well,
Mm-hmm.
and so like all of these lines are getting drawn, but I think Wendy is going. I think they're really trying to drive home the point that like Wendy is very human and motivated by human, kind of goals and emotions
Mm-hmm.
and thought processes, moral compass, all that kind of stuff. And so,
Relationship
y-
based
yeah, and so I
decisions.
think that's where we're going to see our first like kind of split. Is Curly is going to kind of take more of the role that Boy Cavalier wants from these hybrids,
Mm-hmm.
whereas Wendy's going to go off and kind of do her own thing. And I wouldn't be surprised if Wendy and Prodigy end up being like firmly pitted against each other
Oh yeah,
at
I
some
think
point in the show.
yeah, most definitely. I think that's like written on the wall. I think Boy Cavalier. I think with how cocky he is, I think there's a really good chance at the very end of the season we see him get killed by one of his creations. I think that would be everything's being set up for him to get killed by one of his creations.
Yeah, I have a feeling that by the end of season one, either he'll be dead or like because I think Kirsch kind of is weirdly operating against Boy Cavalier a little bit.
Mhm.
So I wouldn't be surprised if the two of them kind of become like in competing against each other in some
Right.
way, shape, or form down the line, either by Boy Cavalier dying or by Kirsch being ousted or quitting or something along those lines. I um I think that let's move on to this next piece here.
Okay.
So Wendy kills the xenomorph by decapitating it
With a knife.
with a knife. I thought it was a knife. Carly said she thought it was a paper cutter that she just like pulled off. I was like, I don't think that's sharp enough. I think it was like a
No,
legit like knife. Yeah,
all of the kids, we'll call them, had knives.
they did. Okay.
Mm.
Gotcha. Yeah, and it was like video game esque with the way she like kind of like somehow magnetically attached it to her back. Did you see that? When she
Yeah.
like, all right, guys, let's go. And she just shit, it's just like
Like in
sitting there
Super
on her
Smash
back.
Bros. When like a 8-foot sword just like gets pulled out from a character's back.
So she kills the xenomorph, but she appears to be having some sort of like psychological after effect. And
Hmm.
the only kind of like important context is that the wound that she had
Hmm.
after killing the xenomorph appeared to be oozing some sort of white blood from
Yeah.
her head. So,
Right.
what is your take on what's going on with Wendy and her like kind of psychic after effects?
I think so she seems very emotional still, despite being mostly machine at this point. She's very much so in tune, very very much so childlike. So I think that would just be a lot for like for a child to witness. Despite her motivation, despite her courage, I still think that would mess with her. And then very clearly she had her physical injuries as well. They had mentioned earlier in the episode that they have only white on the inside. One of the characters says, so that made sense. That was a nice like prelude into what that was dripping down her face, because again, part of the creepiness of the show is like they like to drip things on people.
Yeah, there's a
like
lot of dripping, a lot of
like
acid and
there's a ton of
saliva.
dripping. There's acid that drips, there's blood that drips, there's saliva that drips, there's mucus that drips, like everything's dripping. So
Yeah.
then I think they had to give us an idea of like, okay, like that white substance that's on Wendy's head, like that's probably hers, not something else. So I think that's what that was.
Yeah, I think they're trying to build something a little deeper in terms of they've built out the xenomorph over the years in so many different ways. We talked about like the different genetic modifications that come from the different types of people or organic material that they infest. We talked
Mm-hmm.
about the queens earlier. There's in the various shows a clear kind of like they have an intelligence, like an ability to plan, the ability to like kind of think critically through situations. Like they're like animal, but they're clearly a highly intelligent animal. Think like orca, not
Right.
like some
Slug.
unintelligent. Yeah, exactly. So like basically, the I think they're trying to potentially expand on the some other capability that the xenomorph has.
Mm-hmm.
Where it gets tricky is like she clearly was like sensing or hearing the eggs from
Yes.
afar, and
And
like
they bother her. Mm-hmm.
and then as the xenomorph was getting surgically extracted from the face hugger, she is almost like feeling their pain. It kind of seemed like.
Yeah, I couldn't decide if it was her just being absolutely bothered by their presence, or if it was them being uncomfortable that bothered her. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great question.
And
Not sure.
when she faints on the ground, she's kind of like convulsing and her chest is like
Hmm.
kind of coming up. And so my wife, she goes like she's like, yeah, like I wonder if she has got like infested. And I'm like, no,
Mm.
that can't be it because the xenomorphs, I don't think have that ability. It was only the queen that could create the face hugger, and the face hugger could do that. But
And
like at the
she's
same
synthetic,
time,
so
yeah, and she's synthetic, right? So, but at the same time, there's clearly either some sort of weird like hybrid trauma that she's experiencing,
Mhm.
or the xenomorph has some undefined ability to connect psychologically with her.
Mm.
And that's where I think the head wound is interesting, because like if
Mm.
for whatever reason her head got into contact directly with the xenomorph and like it was able to somehow communicate with it in some way, shape, or form. They do kind of like heavily emphasize that the xenomorphs are like rapidly evolving. There's like a white xenomorph, and I think it's in Alien Covenant, if I remember
Mm.
correctly. So like there's a little bit of like a complexity to them that I think they're gonna build out over time. But that I thought was an interesting element. There's
That was interesting. There's definitely this discomfort that the kids are feeling, you know. So what was the gal's name that had the eye bug almost get into her? What
Nibs.
was Nibs? Nibs is shook. You know,
Yeah.
Nibs is really messed up, and she's obviously struggling with her personality and her fate. And I wouldn't, we know that Wendy's kind of struggled with that a little bit too, because all of them have parents, all of them have families that they remember, and all of a sudden they're just unable to see them. So there's definitely this like psychologic breakdown that they're experiencing. I think all of them are kind of going to experience that to some degree, maybe outside of Curly. She seems pretty motivated and cutthroat. It doesn't really seem like she cares all that much, but yeah,
Yeah,
that's interesting.
I think the Nibs thing where she's kind of like deeply impacted by her encounter with the octopus eyeball.
Oh, dude, that thing
Uh
sucked.
I think that is in some way connected to what happened with Wendy, and I am really curious
Mm,
to see where that goes.
right.
This is kind of like I didn't actually have this on my list, but I'm curious. So, are we to interpret, and I really don't know, this is just a guess at this point. Are we to interpret that these other alien species are in some way, shape, or form connected to the xenomorph, like from the
Mm,
same planet?
mm.
Or is it like they hit multiple planets and they pulled all these different types of life? Because they all kind of have this similar like you
Parasitic vibe.
yeah, and I almost look at it like this planet where the xenomorphs are from is clearly just like the craziest fauna that has ever
Mhm.
existed that it exists there. Because like even like the weird it almost looks like an earwig, like a giant
Dude,
earwig
that's like
that
hanging
like
from the ceiling.
legitimately just sucks your entire blood supply out. And
Oh,
like,
oh no, no, I know. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, dude, that was the worst. You're talking about the two soldiers that are handcuffed to the
yeah,
pole,
yeah.
and then and what's so cool about okay, little side, John. We'll get back to your main question. I thought it was so cool that it wasn't just like the bug saw them and then just latched right onto the carotid artery. Like I thought it was very believable that the bug was almost because it's the first time that the bug had probably
Gotten
encountered a human
loose.
being. Yeah,
Yeah.
and the first time that it was around a human being. So it makes total sense that it would have to do some investigation to try and find like the richest like plump blood supply that a human being has to offer. So it's like going like through the guy's helmet and like down his shirt and he like feels it and then it goes up into his neck and it's just like, oh
He's like,
yeah, this
oh
is the
yeah.
one. And it taps in the worst. Oh my gosh, dude, that gave me the absolute willies. But to answer your question, I don't know if they went to different planets or just one planet. That might have been something we missed, but I feel like they all came from one planet. Dude, this probably isn't going to resonate with a whole bunch of our viewers, but anybody that's read the High Republic books, Planet X, where all the nameless creatures are from, like that's what I envision that planet being, is like where all the aliens came from. It's just like all predators, like nothing is safe. Everything just eats everything and it's just chaos always. Like that's the vibe I get.
That's an interesting poll. Side question: have you finished the new High Republic book yet?
I'm like probably an hour left.
Oh, so you're much further. I like have been really bad. I'm only like a fourth of the way through. Does it please tell
Dude,
me it gets good?
um it gets weird. Like it gets
Great.
more to it gets Mortis gods abstract weird. Not like
Really?
Mortis gods aren't in it, but it gets that weird. That's like deep force deep force beings.
Interesting.
I don't
Okay.
want to give up too
Well,
much. I don't
all
want
right.
to give
I'm
up
gonna
too
try
much.
to
But like,
power through it then.
dude, all of a sudden you're just like, in the mix, and you're like, where did this come from? You know.
Okay.
So it's all right. It's all right. It's okay.
Okay. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Is Markion Rose still an emotional little teenager?
Yes. Very much so.
All right, I'm
So
sorry for
Boy
our High Republic
Cavalier is
jaunt.
like a way more sophisticated, way more emotionally tuned individual than Mark Yunro, but they have the same vibes where they're just like nothing makes them happy anymore, so they just like want more and more and more. That's kind of what the same vibe is.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So yeah, I think you're probably right. I think in all likelihood they're a bunch of alien specimens that they collected from one planet. And the
Mhm.
idea is this one planet clearly has this like incredible like fauna like situation where all because like
Right.
if you imagine like if you Carly and I have actually been watching a lot of like just the David Attenborough like Planet Earth, like Frozen
Mm.
Planet, you know, Blue Planet, all that kind of stuff. And but Sneaky, it's like a great way to just see the world. Like you just get these because they do the producers of that show do an amazing job of like giving you a lot of like zoomed out like video
Mm.
footage of the topography of these different places in
That's
the world,
cool.
whether it's the Chilean Patagonia or the Alaskan Arctic or the North Canadian Arctic or whatever it might be, the boreal forest or whatever it is. It's so like it's kind of a cool way just to see the world. But
Hmm.
like you can see this like clear like evolutionary pathway or whatever you want to call it where it's like the ecosystems are kind of functioning in this like food chain, right, for lack of a
Hmm.
better word, right?
Right.
And so you can imagine in a world where the xenomorph existed, no other life would exist on planet Earth because it would
Right.
just wreck everything
There's nothing
immediately.
stopping it. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, like in theory, for an ecosystem to exist where a xenomorph is the apex predator, the
Hmm.
sub predators would have to have a pretty strong set of traits to be
Right.
able to at least exist within that
Exactly.
world
Within a
alongside the
balance of
xenomorph.
some degree. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
exactly. Because that's the thing. It's like you watch there's caribou running through Alaska, and here's a big bear of some kind. I think it's a grizzly bear like that's attacking the caribou, but it's like there's 100,000 of them. You know what I
And
mean?
they're
So like
fast.
yeah, and they're
Like,
fast as shit. Yeah, or like
yeah.
yeah, you'll see that kind of thing. Like I was watching one of them. There was like wolves. It was like a pack of wolves chasing I think bison if I
Right.
remember
That's
correctly,
exactly what I was about to
and they're like saying they're
bring
like
up.
they have to be super careful when they're like nipping at their heels because like one kick from the bison will like legitimately like shatter the jaw of the
Right.
wolf and it's gonna die.
Right. Even like another example, like you see these like little pack rats, like these desert rats that could like withstand a fight with like a rattlesnake.
Yeah,
It's like because like the rat's like fast as hell and they're
yeah,
savvy. So it's like stuff like that. Like whatever is existing out next to the xenomorph has to be a badass, and we're seeing that. Like these slugs,
yeah,
dude. No, the eye thing, dude. The eye thing is the worst. The eye octopus, because they make like they gave it a human eye, and it
yeah.
freaks me out.
That can
Like
like spawn new pupils
dude,
whenever
I
needed.
know. When it's like angry, it's like I'm gonna make 8 pupils and then I'm gonna attack you. Dude, literally, I don't know if I'd rather be in a room with the eye thing or the xenomorph. I honestly think I'd choose the xenomorph. Just kill me. Get it
I
over
don't.
with.
Yeah, yeah.
The eye
Because
thing is
whatever.
awful.
And Nibs looks a little fucked up right now. So
Oh, she's a little messed up.
yeah, we still don't even understand or know what the eye octopus thing can do.
I
Really,
think, yeah, I think we're gonna see some. Oh, well, actually, no, we do because it got into the cat and it was eating the cat from the
that's
inside,
right.
and it was the cat's eye.
But if you remember, the cat was like meowing and stuff. So like
Oh,
it could like animate whatever
dude.
corpse it infested. It clearly tries to like take your eye and control your brain, like
Hmm.
like the fungus or some shit like
For a
that.
little while until the body just degrades, and then it finds a new one.
So the last thing that we got to hit is Moro and
Mhm.
him effectively trying to get the specimens back for Wayland Utani. I thought this was interesting because essentially Wayland Utani calls Boy Cavalier and is like, "Hey, our ship crashed there, but that's our shit." And
Right.
Boy Cavalier goes, "Sorry, no, now it's my shit." And then Wayland Utani, when she gets in, when they get in touch, when the CEO, the woman gets in touch with Moro, when Moro calls her, she basically is like, "You just come home. We're gonna figure this out." And Moro just goes, "Screw you. This is
Right.
my life's work. I've been dealing with this for 65 years. I've watched my friends die." And
Hmm.
you can tell he like copes with it by telling everyone they're not his friends. But like you
Right.
could tell there's like at least a little bit of a psychological like resonance for him watching all these people
For
die.
sure. Yeah, he was asking the kids. He's like, "What would you do in this situation?" He was messed up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You could tell like there's a good amount of trauma for him there. So like I almost feel like Moro is like working with Wayland Yutani, but also has like some of his own motivations as well. But
Mhm.
clearly some combination of Moro through him doing this like kind of like he attached that ship onto Slightly's neck.
Right.
And he's communicating with him. And by the way, like Slightly and Smee, those the and I don't have their names written down. I should have written them down. But the two actors that are playing those two guys, they are nailing the like acting like 9-year-old boys thing
They
because
did
like
such a good job.
dude,
The way that they sit on couches and the way that they like walk around, it's so funny.
the mannerisms, like dude, I think Smee in particular is like nailing it. He's doing
Mm,
such a good job. But like those characters are super fascinating. But some sort of operation, whether it's a joint operation or Moro operating solely with Wayland Yutani sending in some sort of like commando force, they're going to try to get in on this to get the assets back because you can tell
most
they're
definitely.
incredibly. I mean, they mention it at some point in the show, but like the it cost them like $65 billion
Mm,
to actually send this expedition out. So like clearly they're going to try to recoup their investment in some way, shape, or form.
right. Right. Well, and just the value of something unknown, you know.
Hmm.
Yeah, I can't decide if Morrow is a good guy or a bad guy or somewhere in between. You know, he's definitely riding that in between because, you know, on one aspect, he's pretty cutthroat,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, but then he's also motivated for some reason and you don't know his motivations. But like you kind of pick up certain things like you learn that he was a father and that it sounds like he left his family in order to do this, or you don't know if something tragic happened to his family where then he was just alone and decided, yeah, I'll go on a space adventure, I don't care, you know. And it's just so hard. I could see him butting heads with Utani, Miss Utani, because like it seems like right now her desires align with his, but I feel like he could jump ship, so to speak, as soon as he figures out that the corporation's values might not align with his. So I'm wondering if that's something that we see. I would not be surprised.
Yeah, and he also clearly has some sort of emotional attachment to the aliens because
And
like
yeah, and why, you know,
yeah.
especially why he'd be okay with the aliens obviously being on the loose, running amok in a large metropolitan area. Like he seems very much so okay with that right now. So like it's hard to get a vibe for him. It really is.
Yeah, my guess is that his motivations are scientific. Like if you like
Mm,
there's I think he just has a great deal of pride in his work and I
yeah,
think that that most likely is the biggest part of it.
I feel you.
Do you have anything else from these first three episodes that you want to hit?
No, man. I'm enjoying it. It's super unsettling. You know, this is classic Two Sons podcast where you're definitely getting me out of my little box of things that I like to watch. Um,
I thought about that when I saw the first episode. I was like, this would be so good for us to cover, but I'm like, it's a little gory. I wonder if Luke's gonna like it. We'll
dude,
see.
the scene, so like part of me loves it and part of me hates it, you know, like the music I'm loving, like the thriller aspect and like the jumpiness, like I think is really fun. The sci-fi aspect of it I'm actually enjoying way more than I thought I would.
Yeah, good
There's
sci-fi,
always
man.
like an instance where I'm just like, like I wish I could have done without that. Like the one that jumps out to me is when Wendy's in that apartment, that upscale apartment after the alien was in there, and then that guy is dragging himself across the
With
floor and
his
he's
legs
missing half
missing.
of his half
Yeah.
of his body, and I'm just like, it's pretty unsettling. Like,
That's the
would rather not.
Fallout-esque like
Yeah,
gore.
dude.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like so that level of gore, like I can do without. Even when the xenomorph like went into that guy's face, like, and his face was all messed up, like that's pretty gruesome, but doable. But
Yeah.
the like half alive crawling to nowhere, like disarray, like human experience after being chopped in half, like that's pretty graphic. I could have done without, but overall, I'm enjoying it. It's just it's hard to wind down. Like I finished episode 2, which is that episode, um, at like 11:45 last night. So then I was like, all right, I'm gonna go to sleep. Like
Yeah,
this sucks.
okay. Yeah,
And I was like, I
let
had like
me.
my phone flashlight as I was going through the house, and I'm just like, I'm literally in a spaceship right now, and an alien's about to land on my. I'm something about is about to drip on my head any second.
Well, I'm proud of you for giving it a solid effort. I think it's up our lane with the sci-fi, and most importantly, dude, we
Mm,
just needed to get Tucson's podcast back up and running, man.
I
We
know,
got
man.
something, and we'll find after this, we'll find something else, and we'll keep it busy. It gives us a good excuse to hang out once a week
Right.
while we're 900 miles apart. Any other
I know.
stories from the home front? Anything interesting?
No, man. The 15 minutes prior to me getting on this Zoom call with you was wild.
Oh,
I
really?
had, yeah, like Marlo's screaming. Elena's trying to get out the door with the kids. Like the windshield guy is coming to replace our windshield, and he's like knocking on the door. And then Graham is now potty trained, so he is like running around the house because I tried to get him to wash his hands after going to the bathroom, and he doesn't have pants on. He's just sprinting around the house, just full Donald Duck, just wearing a shirt and nothing else. And what else, man? It was just crazy. Like, oh, and the toilet's clogged. I need to like plunge it. It's just chaos. So doing this is nice because then it's a good way to kind of like unplug, catch up, talk about some stuff that, like sci-fi stuff that really doesn't matter, but it matters to us,
Yeah, it's our
It's
fake world
nice.
that we get to disappear into. Yeah,
It's cool. It's cool.
Parenthood is insane.
It's awesome.
I've seen it change every loved one in my life. That's what's been so interesting about Carly and I's situation. It's just everyone else is going through it and we're not. But like what I will say is I've gotten to see it from so many different angles and perspectives through my brother and my sister and
Mm,
through my friends and my wife's family and her friends and all these different things. And like I will just say that it's chaos for everybody. And you and Elena are just rocking it, dude. I'm just
thanks,
so
man.
impressed by you guys. And like, I think like you guys have done what I've always referred to this as hanging onto the rope. You guys
Yeah.
have done such an amazing job of hanging onto the rope, even when it's
Yeah.
crazy. Like, even when Graham's Donald ducking it and like all that
Right.
kind of stuff. Like, you hang onto the rope, and like, I've seen you be like a cool dad with things that I think are important, but then at the same time, like the other day when Marlo's like crawling around on the ground and Graham's being rough with her, you're like, hey, dude, like you can't jump on top of Marlo. Like you get like you, she's a baby. And
Yeah.
there's a
Right.
super cute moment. So like Luke is kind of chastises Graham, and Graham walks over to Elena, and then Elena and Luke are both like, Graham, like she's a little baby. You're not a baby anymore. And Graham literally just goes like, I am baby.
Dude, kids say the funniest thing. We brought Graham, so he started preschool,
Yeah.
and we're driving him to preschool because, dude, the kid ruined Star Wars for himself. He watched
Oh.
2.5 episodes of Star Wars Rebels with me, and all of a sudden he's just thinks he's the Grand Inquisitor. And anytime he gets even like a pencil, he like puts it in front of his face like this and starts to walk around as if it's like a lightsaber and he's about to like kill someone. And then he attacks you, and we're like, Graham, you can't attack people. You can't hit people. You can't kick people. Because he's like just a boy and wants to play. So
Yeah.
Elena's driving him to work or to school the first day, and then like without even being provoked, Graham goes, no attack, no hit, no kick, just hugs. So he's like gearing himself up, like trying to talk himself out of, potentially hurting other children, it sounds like, as he's way to his first day
He's
of
the
school.
sweetest
So
guy at
funny.
heart.
Dude, he is. He's a really good kid. It's so much fun. It's so much
Mm.
fun. It's a ton of work, but it's so much fun, dude.
But I'm proud of you guys, and like honestly, it just gives me hope that
Yeah.
because I've just seen a lot of chaos, from all of the different situations, and like I just think you guys have done such an incredible job, and it just
Thanks,
gives me
dude.
hope that when the time finally comes for Carly and I, will be able to handle it. And
It will.
again, like it's good to see you, and I'm glad that we're going to be back to doing this, and obviously I'm going to get to see you in early September for when
Yep.
we come home, and then you, me, and our wives, we're going up to Port Angeles for
Dude,
5 days, dude. We're gonna
it's
get
gonna
to
be
have,
awesome.
and no
I'm
kids for that one. So
so
just
excited.
old
I know.
fashioned hangout.
Dude,
And
old fashioned hangout. It's gonna be a vibe. Tucson is like 105 degrees today, so just thinking about getting up, more north is sounds really good.
oh yeah, dude. I had dinner with my buddy Adam Mares, who covers the Nuggets, and last week on Saturday, and I was like, "What's the lowdown, dude?" Because he just got back from a long vacation on the Olympic Peninsula,
Oh, that's
and
cool.
they stayed at Port Angeles their last couple nights. And I was like, "Dude, give me the rundown. Like, what do we need to go see?" And he gave me a long list of different things that are worth seeing, and like I just feel like we're gonna be ready. We're gonna know what we're gonna do, but at the same time, like I'm really looking forward to just relaxing too.
Yeah,
Like I want to
dude, me
spend a
too.
good because we got this place that's right on the water, and dude, I'm just looking forward to like hours and hours and hours of like kicking up on that patio, just having like an ice cold beer and enjoying the view and just relaxing, dude. Because it's been crazy. I was telling Carly like I because of the move. And because that Alaska trip was so itinerary heavy, I feel
Right.
like I've just been going balls to the walls for like 6 months, and
I
like
know,
I
and this
just
is your
need
off
to
season.
chill, dude. I need
Yeah.
to, and like even like here in Denver, like I'm just assembling furniture and like unpacking shit and like dealing with stuff nonstop. Like I'm just ready for it to slow down and like that trip because we're also going up there to visit some other friends in Lake Chelan for like 4 days before we pick you guys up at the airport, and like that trip's going to be a super relaxing trip because all we basically do is hang out by the water. And like I am dying to go on that particular trip because it's going to literally just be like 8 straight days of relaxation. And I just
Dude,
cannot wait for it,
and
man.
you deserve it because it cracks me up that this has been your off season, apparently, and you've still just been grinding this hard. Also, you and Carly apparently just like work out 4 times a day because like every single time that I feel like Elena's talked to Carly, she's like in between workouts. And dude, I'm missing that so badly right now. Like, I need to get back on that train
Well,
so badly.
it's tricky because like so basically what's happening is we've just decided when I've been dealing with injuries, basketball
Right.
injuries, and I'm trying to do a very slow ramp up right now, but we're basically trying to like really address the nutrition side of it. And so
Cool.
like we're like tracking proteins and like doing that kind of stuff and like making sure we hit these
Damn.
like specific nutritional goals while also like doing F45 every
Yeah.
day. And I'm doing these shooting workouts that are like 24-hour fitness that's right up the street. And so like I like basically I know because for the record, you want to know why we're able to do this stuff? It's because we don't have kids. And like the truth of the matter is
And you guys don't know
we would
anybody where you live now. Like,
yeah, hey,
it's
we're
just,
our social calendar is empty. Like,
it's completely, yeah, exactly.
yeah, like I got invited to go on Thursday night to go to this chicken festival, and
What?
it's like it's in
I was
it's
not
in
expecting you to say that. Okay,
so
Chicken Festival, big time there, big
yeah.
time.
So it's at like a fairgrounds area that's like in downtown Denver, and my buddy Adam, who covers the Nuggets, invited me, and he's like, yeah, I'm going. He's like, and one of my buddies from DNVR, and then he's like, two Denver Nuggets coaches are going. So I was like,
Oh shit!
of course I'm gonna go. Like I need that.
Right.
This is the kind of thing that I need to go do to network and to just get to know people that are in the league and but it's like the one thing on my social calendar that's during this phase. And on the one hand it's been nice because my wife's my best friend, we love
Yeah.
hanging out, and so it's been really
Right,
great for us to get to spend a lot of time together, but at the same time it's a jarringly different life
dude.
than what we had down there. But here's the thing, dude, and I want to be 100% clear, like this is great and like we're going to enjoy skiing. Like we came up here to ski, we're going to ski our asses off,
Right,
and obviously getting to devote this type of energy and effort and nutritional value to me as a basketball player is a lot of fun.
for
But we
sure.
we would trade all of that to have a kid.
Yeah,
We'd trade it
I
all
know
to
you
have a
would.
kid, and we're just using this as essentially a coping mechanism, for lack of a better word, and we're and it's fine. And by the way, we're very happy.
I know you are.
It's just I've always just looked at like being a dad as like this part of my brain that's like locked away
Mhm.
behind this like vault, and I have no idea what's behind that door, but the minute that I become a dad, that door will get unlocked and this like entirely different version of myself will come forward,
Dude,
and I
that's cool.
want to meet that person myself. I want
Yeah,
to like learn about that version of myself so much.
Yeah.
But at the same time, because it's locked away and I don't know what it is, like I'm still happy and everything's fine. It's just like I'm so ready to enter that phase. And like watching you guys, like seeing the way you've changed as a dad, like Marcus, like the last few times I've hung out with Marcus, he just had his twins like a month and a half ago.
Mm,
Like you can already see a difference in his personality
right.
is who he almost like a softness that's come over him in a good way. I mean that as a compliment.
Right. Right.
And like in like it's just what you guys are doing is cool in a different way. You
Thanks,
know,
man.
we're doing this cool thing up here, but it's just different. You know what I
You
mean?
guys, you guys pulled off very, very well. And I'm really proud of you guys. I really am. The decision that you guys made to kind of do a venture that was somewhat like scary and foreign and far away, like it says a lot about you guys as like just the fact that you and Carly are both go getters. And though we miss the hell out of you, it's been so much fun to hear about like your little ventures there and to see you like just you guys just like look good. You guys look healthy. Like it sounds like you guys are just like doing like the LeBron James approach where you're just like, we're gonna focus on us and health and there's nothing wrong with that, man. I think that's great
It's
and
fun.
an awesome opportunity.
We're leaning into it. Colorado's really cool. I mean, like I know it's
Yeah.
cliche and like and you know, you don't want to turn into one of those, you know, Colorado douchebags who's like talking about how like no, we live in Colorado. It's so cool. But like at the same time, like
Right.
it's a cool place. It's just a cool place.
It's really cool.
Home is where your family and friends are ultimately, and like that's why
For sure.
Tucson will always be home for us. But like Colorado's cool, man. Like that, like
Yeah.
every day we go outside to walk the dogs and the weather's just unbelievable. And like it's you know, it's so funny that they say colorful Colorado on that sign, the state sign, because
Right.
like legitimately every time I look out our window, I'm just like the color here is insane. The
It's
yellows and the
gorgeous, dude.
greens and the browns and the blues and it's almost like purpley sometimes in the mountains
Right.
in dusk. It's just it really is just a beautiful place. And like if we have to go somewhere for a couple years while we kind of get through this phase of our lives, like I feel lucky also. Like yeah, like I was talking about this with
Dude.
Johnny the other day. Like you know how insane it is that like we were able to just basically pick up our life without any sort of clearance. I didn't have to like ask anybody or anything. We just
Right.
moved. We just
It's
did it.
awesome, dude.
You know,
Yep.
it's we're
No.
just we're very lucky. You know what I
And you've
mean?
got a great job to where you can do that. I'm all for it, man. I'm glad you guys did it.
Well, I'm glad we did this today. It was great to get to catch up with you. I just missed doing this. I've missed just talking about our favorite shows and just shooting the shit and having a good
I know.
time. Everybody who's listening, we will be back this time next week for episode 4 of Alien, and we'll be following it throughout the rest of the season, and then this particular season, and then we'll find something else to cover from there. But as always, we sincerely appreciate you guys for supporting us and rocking with the show, and we will see you guys in a week.
Thanks, man.